Grand Risings. My name is David King, and I'm the National Coordinator in the U.S. for the Pan African Federalist Movement. So, why should you or your organization join our coalition to form the United African States? Well, the simple answer is power. The power to implement our collective right of self-determination. You know, for more years than I care to admit, I've worked in my community and at the municipal level to improve conditions in the Black community. I've focused on issues like economic empowerment, homelessness, housing, education, etc. I've studied our history in this country, as well as the vastness of our history as the begetters of civilization. Throughout these endeavors, a question began to form in my mind that I struggled with for a very long time. That question: is it better to continue to fight, to change a system that was never built for us, or to focus that energy on building our own? It took me years to come to a conclusion on this question. But what I came to realize is that for every success in our struggle against the systems of white supremacy, there was a response. Now, during our ancestors' captivity in this country, they weren't sitting idly by accepting their fate. There were hundreds of revolts, riots, insurrections, and resistance efforts. From Gabriel Prosser to Margaret Bradley to Nat Turner to the Black Seminole Wars, our forebears fought tooth and nail against their bondage, which ultimately led to emancipation and the very short-lived Reconstruction period. What was the response? The Black Codes and Jim Crow laws, and the new use of courts and slave patrols turned police, all focused on our re-enslavement. What was the response to the successes of our civil rights battles in the 60s? The flooding of our neighborhoods with drugs and mass incarceration, which continue to be preeminent problems now. And what else do we see today? Massive efforts to erase our history and prevent our progress. Homeownership rates now are lower than before the Fair Housing Act, and we own just about the same percentage of the wealth of this country that we had back in 1850. As I continued to struggle with the question plaguing my mind, a new question began to form. What are we fighting to be a part of? This is a nation that clearly seeks to continue to control the globe through force and coercion. I could give so many proofs of this, but just consider simply that the U.S. has over 800 military bases around the world and is the #1 exporter of weapons of mass destruction by far, for a reason. Do we really want an equal part of that blood on our hands? How long can we accept that our tax dollars are used as blood money against our own people and so many others around the world? All of these things and more finally led me to answer my long-held question. That answer: it is time for us to build our own system, one that facilitates our growth in the ways we choose to grow. We owe this to ourselves, to our children, and to the world. That being said, why join the Pan African Federalist Movement? Why the United African States? Let me just give you some of the reasons. Firstly, the UAS will be a world power on day one, with over 1 billion citizens, immense natural resources, a massive land base, which can include much of the Caribbean as well, incalculable intellectual capacity, and the workforce of the future. We would have the capacity to force a seat on the UN Security Council with veto power, to put the weight of the UAS behind our fight for reparations, to enact global trade and supply chains all within the ranks of our own citizenry. We could control the education of our children. I could go on. But in short, we will have the power to grow as we choose. Think about that. The birth of the UAS provides the political solution, which will bring about our people's renaissance after centuries of our dark age. African Americans would have the choice to either move within the boundaries of the UAS and receive land, or to possess dual citizenship and remain in the United States. I know. I want to be a part of that. I hope you do too. For individuals and organizations which are considering whether to join our coalition, please understand that this does not mean in any way that your organization will have to change its mission or process. Quite the contrary. We're asking you to join because of your mission, and so that we can incorporate your mission and your voice into the process of the building of the UAS. Now, if you have decided you want to build the future you deserve, then join us. Click the link below that says sign the call. Now, if you're still not sure you want to participate in our coalition, but you believe in the idea of the United African States, then please sign our petition by clicking that link below. Now, whatever you decide, just know that we are building for you and all of our people who deserve to regain our own place in the sun. In closing, let me leave you with a quote from the great Dr. John Henry Clark. And he said, if we cannot develop the concept of an African world union and participate one to the other, we might as well go out of business as a people, because nobody is going to respect anyone who are not masters of themselves, feeding themselves, educating themselves, and protecting themselves. There is no European, and I will add no American, solution for your problems. In honor of our ancestors and for the sake of our children, I thank you for coming this far, and I hope to see you soon. Peace, power, and blessings.